This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is the Samsung Jet. This is a TouchWiz 2.0 phone, which means it has widgets, and for once you can finally download and install new widgets. You're not just stuck with the ones that ship with the phone. We'll cover those in more detail later. This is Samsung's TouchWiz UI, which means you've got a 3.1-inch touch screen here. It's not capacitive, it is a resistive display, but it is Samsung's AMOLED display, which means it's incredibly bright and vibrant like the Samsung Impression on AT&T. It's a fairly small phone and plasticky but good looking. Big call, send, and end buttons, a multi-function button down here. It's not just a traditional D-pad. And the back is very interesting looking. Let's see if I can tilt that so you can see. It's almost like a automobile taillight lens reflector. You have a 5-megapixel autofocus camera back here with a dual LED flash. It takes very good pictures, even better than the Samsung Behold. You have a dedicated 3.5mm jack up here. This is the USB port for syncing, charging. And you've got the 3D launcher button over here and the camera button. This is the camera. This is the 3D launcher. There's actually a second 3D UI on the phone. And this over here is the screen lock button. Nothing much going on the bottom except for the microphone. Volume controls are here on the side. See that you have the TouchWiz UI, but instead of a single screen, you've got 3 screens. Similar to Android. You side swipe to get to your screens. There's a little indicator bar up here that tells you which of the screens you're on currently. The application launcher screen works the same way. There's an indicator up there. And you can put different widgets on different desktop screens. That's what's really useful about this, because obviously you've got these widgets here, and before you know it, it's just a total litter of things, and you can't see anything. You can pick up and move these guys around. And if you want anything else, you can just tap on it here. And turn here, so you've got a Wi-Fi control widget. There's a whole lot of widgets here. You've got Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, YouTube player, profiles, notepads, variety of clocks, Samsung's usual birthday reminders, a widget setting widget, and one that allows you to download more widgets from Samsung. Since this is an import phone, there's a lot of international widgets in here, including things like Das Bild in German and Chef Koch. But there's plenty enough for those of us who speak English to have fun with. Speaking of international, this is an import GSM phone. It's unlocked. It's quad-band GSM with Edge, so it'll work on any GSM carrier, which means AT&T and T-Mobile in the U.S. primarily. Won't work on Verizon or Sprint. It has 3G, but it's only overseas 3G. This will not work on 3G here in America. We don't know if any carrier is going to pick up this phone. It is available via a few carriers overseas. In a way, I think it's kind of the poster child for everything Samsung can put into a TouchWiz phone. It has every feature under the sun, from the AMOLED touchscreen display to the 5-megapixel camera, GPS, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. It can shoot 720-pixel wide video. It has a DivX player. So you name it, it's in here. It's got haptic feedback. It has an accelerometer. It has a proximity sensor. And it has gesture settings too. Let's take a look at the traditional launcher first, and we'll get into gesture settings and the 3D stuff. So here's the 3 menus of applications. Got Exchange Active Sync on here, World Clock, Memos, Google Shortcut, Calculator, Unit Converter, a pretty nice music player. It's similar to other TouchWiz phones like the Samsung Highlight on T-Mobile and the Eternity on AT&T. Some games, an FM radio, a video editor, stopwatch, and Samsung's new Dolphin Web Browser, which looks sort of like Netfront that they have been using, but it's got some tweaks and it's a full HTML browser. We'll take a look at that. Navigation doesn't do much in this country. It's really geared for overseas, but Google Maps does work fine on the phone. And if good old-fashioned 2D is a little too boring for you, you can press the side button here and start up first the motion tutorial, and then after that you can see the 3D launcher cube. You can scroll around to get the games, FM radio, photo viewer, music player, web browser, and so on. It just kind of shows off the power of the phone. Graphically, it is very powerful. It does play DivX video, large format, very well. And it's got an 800 megahertz processor, which is pretty phenomenal for a feature phone, or even for a smartphone. This is just a feature phone. It also supports gestures, so you can do things like do that to change your track. It's not very easy to use, and in theory you can actually use it to flip this cube around too. Again, it's kind of showcasing everything that Samsung could possibly do, but didn't find it to be the most easy thing to do. Let's take a look at the Dolphin Web Browser. Let's take a look at our own website. The browser supports the accelerometer. Pretty much every application on this phone does. And again, the UI isn't that different from NetFront that we've been seeing on the Eternity, the Highlight, the Samsung Solstice, the Impression. And we are doing this over Edge. We don't have Wi-Fi turned on right now, so it's not going to be amazingly fast. So that's our homepage, and gee golly, it looks a lot like our homepage. It does a very nice job of rendering. You can scroll. Since this is not a capacitive display, there's no pinch zoom, but you can tap in, or you can use the volume buttons to zoom in. So make it a little bit bigger. When the page is finally loaded, it defaults to full screen mode. If you want to bring up the menus, you can do so by touching here. Yes. So you got your favorites here. You've got a menu of settings. Scroll through those kind of things. And if you want to go to a different website, you just type in here. So here's the on-screen keyboard and landscape mode. It's pretty large and has shortcuts for www.com. So it's fairly easy to use. It does have haptic and auditory feedback. And it switches to a T9 keyboard if you're in portrait mode. So that's the web browser. This display is 800 by 480 pixels, which is about as big as you're going to find on any phone. It's like the HTC Touch Pro 2. Not many phones are sporting this high resolution, so that's one of the reasons why you can see our full web page in an almost readable fashion on the display. Take a quick look at the photo browser, which supports motion. Again, it's not the easiest thing to control by doing that, but you get a little haptic feedback, a little vibration, so that you know that it's sensing that you're moving it, or you can just do that. And you get sound effects. Zoom in on any picture. Just tap on it. Beautiful screen. We're going to try out the YouTube player next, which would certainly be better on Wi-Fi since we don't have 3G here. And I just wanted to show you folks the Wi-Fi interface, which is similar to Samsung's Bluetooth interface on their TouchWiz phones that you might have seen if you've had one of the TouchWiz phones available in America. So here is the representation of the phone, the big center dot, and these are all the networks that are available. If you want to connect to one, you tap on it. You can also get details about it. So once you've connected to and saved the network, you can see right here it shows a relationship here with the dotted line, and that network is also blue. YouTube Player really just goes to the mobile version of YouTube. So here's a YouTube video. Unfortunately, it happens to be a black and white one. What can you do? That's smooth. Looks good. Fills up most of the screen. And the sound's quite good. This thing has an excellent speaker on it. Sound effects are very loud. The speakerphone is loud and clear. Let's just give it a real quick comparison to the Eternity on AT&T. As you can see, it's actually a little bit smaller than the Eternity. Similar in thickness. And we'll compare it to the iPhone. This is the iPhone 3GS. A lot smaller than that. Well, the iPhone, of course, is still the slimmer puppy. So that's the Samsung Jet. Visit Mobile Tech Review to read our full review.